What's up, guys, gals, and Book Nook Pals? It's Pluck the Bunny with another Book Nook unboxing, and today we're looking at Monster Carnival, one of the newest Book Nooks from Tonecheer. And what I like about this Book Nook, forgot about that. This is a desk I 3D printed for one of the custom silent corner studies that I make for people. It is available if you contact me through the channel or the subreddit. Sorry about that. Reason we're here, looking at the Book Nook by Tonecheer. So what I really like about this Book Nook is you got one scene from two perspectives. You got an inside scene, you get an outside scene, but it's the same environment. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 in there. I do like that they rate this a 6-star difficulty down here. You can see it's so difficult they had to add a 6th star, as I like to say. I'm a big fan of this because Tonecheer Book Nooks are intricate, they're detailed, they're the fun kind of difficult. I'm seeing what looks like some texture on the outside, I'm seeing some chains, and I appreciate the challenge that their Book Nooks afford. If you are a fan of Tonecheer Book Nooks, don't forget we have the mini Tonecheer event going on right now where a bunch of people are building the Gaverny Book Nook by Tonecheer, which is the Book Nook of Monet's, Claude Monet's home place. Is a very beautiful multi-dimensional Book Nook. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but it's got some flying birds in there. Yeah, you can't see, they're kind of on strings in there. This is a really beautiful one. We just finished up our Roll Life subreddit, our Roll Life event on the subreddit where we gave away 21 Book Nooks to participants, which was super awesome. Thank you to Roll Life. And tomorrow we start our mini alley event where you can do either the Dreamy Alley or the Neo Ramen Book Nooks to compete in the event. I'm sorry, not compete, participate in the event, because everybody has a chance to win if you participate. I'm going to put an unboxing for Dreamy Alley right here. I'm going to put an unboxing for Neo Ramen right here. But again, we're here for Tonecheer Monster Carnival today, so let's get into it. All right. Tell this is a first take video because I'm opening up the plastic, and you get to watch me struggle with taking the sleeve off. Ooh, that came out pretty easy. All right, let's look at what we got here. All right, you know, I like that they put the foam on there. They want to protect their product, which means they're proud of their product. All right, we can get this right out of the way. We have our sacrificial square here, but we don't need to use it because while Tonecheer does give us a bigger square of sandpaper, this is an inadequate, borderline useless piece of sandpaper, just like every single Book Nook. So you know what we do with that? We get rid of it because we don't need it. All right, beautiful full color cover on here. You know what, let's just start with the manual, go in order. So one thing I really love about Tonecheer is besides their always multi-stage integrated, intricate lighting package, they do a really good job of labeling the different wires and showing you on the pieces where those wires go. I do actually like how they explain some stuff here too. We have our full list of pieces, how everything goes together. And what I like about this is if you notice on this page, there's a dotted line. All right, let's see if I can get here, if you guys see. You see that dotted line right there? And what's neat about that dotted line is it's meant for you to cut this page out. And you would ask yourself, why am I cutting out a page of an instruction manual? And it's a fairly relevant question. And the reason why is because all these different parts have odd numbers, right? Y11, Y12, Y3. Rather than having to continually flip back and forth to find which piece is which, you can just use the accessory list that you've cut out as a bookmark in your instructions, and you always have the guide at hand, and you don't have to worry about searching for your instruction page. So again, I call them quality of life features. This is a 100% quality of life feature designed for people who build Book Nooks. You can see one of the things they list is a chunk of wax. For those of you who have watched my videos before, you know I am not a fan of those little blocks of wax, and I'm sure if you've built a Book Nook with movable pieces, you yourself are not a fan of those little chunks of wax. I do recommend picking up some furniture lube. It's kind of like a wax paste that you paint on. I think that works a lot better than these little bricks. If I can remember by the end of the video, I will put that in the description when this goes live. And then they have here instructions on testing their lighting package, and this works with their magic wand. So Tonecheer has a remote control for multiple Book Nooks. It's a magic wand, and it can pair with a bunch of their kits, which is cool because it would synchronize their stuff. So, all right. In fact, you don't even have to cut it out. This page is perforated. You can feel it along here. You have, and the other thing is, it on the back has the guide for what the different icons mean. So again, you understand what you're doing. Built-in tools, instructions on how to glue, tips on storing the tiny parts, and how to pop out the pieces. We know that Tonecheer doesn't use full color, which some people don't love, and I understand why it would be preferable to have full color, but this actually does look like they're using gradients of gray and off-white and full color images to indicate the orientation of pieces. So that's at least a step in the right direction. I do like how they have instructions and tips and warnings, like you see here. Like there's a flexible piece that they're worried about breaking. Where was that? That was somewhere, but right here. One thing that's also really shows you how the designers put thought into how they build the product for the end user. So if you look here on this page, there's a ruler built in. Now most of us have a ruler within arm's reach. I'm sure if you're at this point of crafting where you're watching unboxing videos of Book Nooks, but it's really nice to have one just built into the page, because if you're only doing something like cutting a 10-centimeter length of chain, it's nice to just be able to line it up on the page without having to go and look for something else. Common mistake orientation correction here. So it looks pretty standard. Lots of waxing in here. I did not realize this piece had moving parts. That's pretty cool. It's probably gonna have to do with the flip side design of the Book Nook, where certain figures will work on both sides. So that's pretty cool. So little things like flames here. Maybe we'll go ultraviolet or glow-in-the-dark paints on those. Maybe some dimensional magic. As always, they have their top lighting with the brace. It does look like it's going to be some significant lighting on top there, which is pretty cool. And their very iconic arched design with their scroll work pieces segmented along the top. So some new stuff from Tonecheer here, but it's not sacrificing the things that make it a Tonecheer kit. And then at the end, instructions on how to make the mechanism work. And then some other things, including their airship, which, stay tuned, in January on the subreddit is going to be the focus of our event, the different airships by them. So let's take a look at some of the other components here. Not too many decals in this one, which is a nice thing. And you know, sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be bad. They're pretty good at putting a lot of color on their pieces, so I'm not worried about that. These look like little, kind of hard to see, but they look like little locking tabs. Let's see if I can get, yeah, it's kind of hard to see these little locking tabs. That's a little thin, flexible plastic. We have some thicker Lexan, and this is going to be a lantern. And I will tell you guys, plastic lantern pieces like this are very brittle, okay, and they break very easily. So take your time cutting these out, all right? Use a hobby knife, use an X-Acto knife, like this wonderful Nova retractable hobby knife, and you're gonna wanna try and score those connection points before you try and push it out. Otherwise, you're gonna break this. We have the vellum paper, the rice paper here. and some shapes. Looks like we're gonna have to do some cutting on that. Cutting, not my favorite thing, but you know, it is what it is. And then we have what looks like to be some window covers here. So that's interesting. I'm sure underneath, because they usually have a tray on the bottom with the lighting package. Hopefully we have a couple elements in there. You know what, let's take a look at that first. Okay, not too much actually. We got some fishing line and we got our iron chain. We have some screws and washers, and I'm sorry, some pins and screws and washers. And then we have some nuts and screws and bolts here. A little built-in screwdriver. Unfortunately, no B7000 to add to the family. And we have our robust lighting package. But again, at least they give us a AAA box, which doesn't have a required touch sensor, so you don't have to do any electronics work to wire this for your battery eliminator. And that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the kit itself. Maybe. There we go. So from what I'm seeing here, the innovation in this kit is going to be in the design and mechanism of the kit itself, not so much in the elements of it. But as we saw with Space Time Museum, when we did our Tonecheer event back in August, these kits are rife for customization. And I think that's pretty cool. It's going to be our front dust cover. One book, one world, create fun with Tonecheer. I like that message, and it actually seems to be grammatically correct, which is also a nice thing to see. One thing I don't love about Tonecheer kits is on their side runners, they always utilize that space, which I guess is fine, but then as soon as most of their kits, let's rewind. Two primary strategies in the build of kits. One is you build a lot of elements and then you assemble them on the side. One is you grab the side and then you immediately start putting the elements on the side. You build it from the walls, and there's typically a lot of space on the inside center of them, and they're not quite as full. Tonecheer kits tend to be like that. There's a lot of wall building, and that's where you really start. So what happens? All right, we start with side A, right? And I guarantee if I go back into this instruction manual and open it up, step one is going to be side A or side B. That's just my guess. Let's see if I'm right. All right, we're going to build one element, and yeah, okay. So it's not step one, but we're on you know, the third page of instructions, and we're grabbing side A. And why is that a bad thing? It's not innately so, but once you do that, you got to snap this top piece off, and you have a little piece just hanging around, and I'm just afraid I'm going to lose it because I'm a big klutz. I do like the pretty high resolution for the small images on the walls here, which is pretty cool. They did tend to go with the no print and the score lines, so you get the double guidelines for where you're going to fix your pieces. Full color on both sides, but I'm not really surprised for the outside pieces, especially on a Tonecheer kit. And then boom. It's kind of hard. It doesn't translate so well from my iPhone, and I'm going to try and zoom in. That's because this bears the zoom. The vibrancy of the color, it's really not gonna, the way my studio's set up, it's hard to tell, but you immediately get hit in the face with the vibrancy of the color here. So even if you don't 3D print it, and I gotta tell you, even though there's a lot of 2D pieces here, I'm most likely not gonna do any 3D printing in this kit because the vibrancy of the colors on here is so beautiful that I would have to up my painting level a million times just to get in the same realm. So lots of, and if you look, so much double-sided art here. So much of this is going to be double-sided on the Tonecheer kit. It's incredibly high quality. Okay. I mean, let's look at the detail on the scroll work here. Oh, I should probably zoom back out. Sorry, guys. Ooh, too much. You don't need to see that. All right. Beautiful detail on the scroll work. Not surprising, still very flexible on the accordion pieces because this is one of their newer kits. But just, you know, there's not too much to say with this kit because there's not much surprising here. And I mean that in a good way. It's everything you expect from a Tonecheer kit with not too many glaring complaints. Again, I don't like the things on the top of the A and the B runners because when you have to snap them off and then you have little pieces hanging around. That's really not the end of the world here. It doesn't look like our clocks are going to be clock on clock, which I don't love that, but you know, that's not the end of the world either. Beautiful background image off to the side here. There's just so much going on here. It's busy, but it's not busy, if that makes any sense. This will be the bottom and the ridge on the bottom. And this is going to be mostly structural pieces, which is why you're not seeing too much color here. So, guys, I mean, is Tonecheer reinventing the wheel here? No. Is this what looks to be an incredibly solid Book Nook for the holidays? Absolutely. So, very happy to take a look at this. Again, this is Monster Carnival by Tonecheer. Probably not going to be able to finish it for Halloween, but this time of year, you should pick it up. Tonecheer has a Halloween sale going on right now, up to 25% off. A lot of different deals going on right now. Shipping on select items, I believe, is free in the U.S. I'll put a link to their sale in the comments as well. So thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, go to the subreddit, and have a wonderful day.